Hello, this is Bryan Heathman, and welcome to the Book Publishing Success Podcast Show, where we interview some of the most fascinating authors in the world. Today, we have been honored to have a studio visit from Janelle Bruland, who is an author from the Pacific Northwest, and she has written a really interesting book called The Success Lie. So, Janelle, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming in and joining us here at the Made for Success Studios. And I'm looking forward to having a conversation about your book.
Well, thank you, Bryan. I'm really glad to be here and excited to talk with you about The Success Lie.
Awesome. So, Janelle, I think listeners would love to hear, while we're getting started here, about your entrepreneurial, see, nobody can even say that word, your entrepreneurial journey. So tell us how you got here to the pinnacle of success.
Oh, thanks, Bryan. Well, I started out on this entrepreneurial journey over 20 years ago out of the living room of my home.
Wow.
I actually had decided that I would do a side investment in a small janitorial company that would allow me to work from home and run a business while raising my family. And so that's exactly what I did. I happened to actually be 9 months pregnant at the time.
Oh my gosh,
second
you're
daughter.
kidding.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So 9 months pregnant with my second daughter when I made this decision. And it has been a wonderful journey. And over time, we have grown this janitorial company, MSNW, into a multi-state company with over 450 employees.
What?
And we take care of facilities from the roof to the parking lot. So it's been a really fun journey along the way with lots of ups and downs. I've learned some incredible lessons as an entrepreneur. And truly, you do ride the roller coaster as an entrepreneur. And one moment you have this high up here where you won this new contract.
Yep.
Or you've hired this wonderful person that you're super excited about, to the next minute where you're not sure if you're going to have enough money to pay payroll.
To make payroll.
And so it truly is this roller coaster ride of up and down. And sometimes those highs and lows can happen within a 24-hour period.
Okay.
So really an interesting, challenging, exciting journey. And as I mentioned, just a lot of lessons learned along the way. And as I went through this process and found in my own life the success that I was enjoying, despite that success, I found that something was missing that I was wanting. And looking at my life and my schedule, I was so overcommitted and so overscheduled, and I found myself often overwhelmed and exhausted.
Okay.
And talking with other entrepreneurs, we all found ourselves in this same boat and believing what I call the success lie, which is that we have to work harder, work longer in order to achieve this success. And I just don't believe that that's true.
Okay. Well, when I look at the success lie, it says that it's got 5 simple steps to overcome overwhelm and achieve peace of mind. That's amazing. And the things in this book are pretty incredible. So give me just a picture. What motivated you to write this book?
Well, through my pursuit of success, I have discovered there is a pervasive lie in the world today, a lie that has become an epidemic because so many people buy into the lie of success and they don't even realize that they're doing it. Entrepreneurs and business professionals everywhere believe that success means more, more, more. And to achieve success, you must do more, work harder, longer, sacrificing everything, even your health or your family. And I was compelled to write this book because I've been there and I found that there is another way. And I want to share that in this book. And I really believe that it's our choice to get off of this treadmill that society calls the way to success and to take your life back. And I want to show you how. My goal is to eradicate the success lie.
Wow. Wow. Now you're talking to somebody who runs a company called Made for Success, right? So that's hilarious. All right. So, the success lie, I mean, that's an intriguing concept. So I imagine that there are some common, misconceptions or even lies that we've bought into about success. So what are some of your favorite success lies?
Well, I would definitely say the lie of always having to be on, especially in our technology-driven world. It's just worse than it has ever been before.
Huh.
And I found myself the need to always be on. I mean, my goodness, we have our calendars and our phones on our wrists these days. So for myself, I realized that I had an issue with it. And it happened to come up because I was going to set a time to get together with a dear colleague and friend of mine who had called. And I couldn't find any space to be able to even meet with this individual. It was going to be 30 days out before I could even meet with her.
Wow. Okay. So it sounds like getting really, I mean, this whole being always on and being overscheduled is part of this success lie that you talk about. So that is very true, very true. In fact, one of the things that I was intrigued with while I was reading your book was this whole idea that you talk about of living on automatic. So can you help our listeners understand what that means?
You bet. Well, I can best illustrate this with a story. As you mentioned, I live in the beautiful Pacific Northwest, and my husband and I live on Birch Bay, and we love to go out on a warm summer evening and kayak. And one of the things that happened to us is one evening we were out there. I was busily or my husband was busily paddling. He loves the exercise.
And I was
I was just gazing at the sunset as it shimmered and came down and descended into the water. And all of a sudden, we looked up and we were in the thoroughfare of a cruise ship. And in front of us...
You mean like in a shipping lane?
Yes, in a shipping lane with 14-story cruise ship right in front of us.
Oh my gosh, in a kayak?
Yes, we had gotten ourselves into a little bit of a dangerous situation.
Oh, yeah. I don't even know if a cruise ship captain could see a kayak from way up there. I mean, those things are gigantic.
I doubt it. Well, fortunately, we saw it in plenty of time, and we were able to get ourselves safely back to shore. But what it reminded me is, as entrepreneurs and business professionals, that we too live on automatic, that our lives are like this. We're so caught up in the busyness of what we're doing, of taking care of our families, of running a company, of spending time in the community, that we don't really pay attention to where we're going. And it sometimes can happen upon us quickly and other times over a period of time. But one day we wake up and we realize that we found ourselves in a completely different place than we ever wanted to be. We didn't want to gain those 30 pounds that we put on.
Wait a minute. Are you implying anything there?
No.
Okay. All right.
Not at all. Maybe we found ourselves in an estranged relationship or even a divorce. We certainly didn't want that to happen. Yeah. Or we always were going to make the time for those kids growing up, and all of a sudden they're graduating from college, and we've missed the opportunity. So we can do things a different way. We can give ourselves permission to do things a different way, and we don't have to live on automatic. But the first step is that we have to become aware. We have to wake up to our unconscious living and then determine that we want to live a life with intention. And in the Success Lie, I show you a path, your roadmap to creating that life that you always wanted with intentional living.
Okay. So intentional living, that sounds like a kind of an intriguing thought, right? So to get more intentional about your day, maybe even, I don't know. How do you structure your day? What are some of the success tips that you've got for us?
Well, one of the things that I do is I am most intentional about my calendar. And I really discovered in my own life, as I mentioned before, about just trying to book coffee with this colleague, I found myself so overscheduled. It was just ridiculous that I couldn't even make time for somebody that was important to me because I had so overcommitted myself. So one of the things that I have done is created a process that I call intentional calendaring.
Okay.
And it's all about taking the things that really matter to you, what your own personal priorities and values are, and scheduling those things first. And then everything else comes behind. And in fact, a lot of things you just decide to completely eliminate off of your schedule.
I see. Okay.
When I took these steps, it helped me to find more space in my life for the things that matter most.
Okay.
And it was really life-changing for me.
So one of the cool things that you were sharing with me earlier as we were getting together and talking is the way you map out your mornings. What do you call it?
My power morning routine.
Power morning. Okay, yeah. So tell me how you structure your mornings for you personally. I mean, what works for you?
Sure. Well, thanks for asking. I found that I went for a lot of years where my morning was just a blur, and I was racing out of bed, and I was quickly getting the kids off to school and getting myself to work, and it was this flurry of activity, and I would actually continue that through the whole day oftentimes with all of the things that I had going on and end up just exhausted at the end of the day. So I thought, why not set a routine in the morning of that can be more positive and something that's going to set me up for my best day? I found myself, as 80% of us, according to research, are picking up our phones even while we're in bed to check either social media or emails. Have you been guilty of that,
guilty.
Bryan?
Guilty as charged.
Yes. Well, same here. I did the same thing. And imagine, as I found myself one time grabbing my emails and looking at them before I'd even had my first cup of coffee, that I had an email from an upset client.
Oh, those are the worst.
Well, it doesn't start your day off right.
Yeah, right.
Off right. And I would expect, as we all do, that if you just took time to look at what you do in the morning, that you already have a morning routine. There's already things that you probably do in a consecutive order every morning. So the goal for myself, and I would say for everyone who's listening today, is think about what you're currently doing now in the morning. Is that setting you up to be in the best possible mindset for your best day? And that's doing things that's going to look a little different for all of us, but it's doing things that are going to be best for you and set you up for your best day of success. So for myself, I generally take an hour that I call my power hour.
Okay.
I block it into 3 20-minute segments. The first is just spending a time in reflection and meditation. So I really take some quiet time for myself. I do a meditation, which I found really helpful for me. I also read something that's inspirational. So that's something that I do in the first 20 minutes. The second 20 minutes, I actually take to do some business reading. It's so hard to find time to do business reading. And I'm always trying to grow and improve in the way that I'm leading. And so having a great business book that I can read first thing in the morning for those 20 minutes just really gets my mind creatively working.
Yeah.
And it's just really, really good for me. And then the final 20 minutes is setting myself up for my most productive day by really outlining what are the top 3 priorities that I have for the day and what is that going to look like. And I look at my calendar, prepare myself for the day, and then I'm off and running.
Okay. Super interesting. So, it was kind of interesting before we got together here in the studio. I noticed that you were taking a little time out. And you mentioned something that you were trying to tame your monkey brain. So that was hilarious. So now that we're here chatting, I mean, tell me, what were you doing? What is a monkey brain?
Yes, well, I have a problem, Bryan, of having a monkey brain, and I bet you might have this problem too. As a wife and a mother and a business owner, I find that I have just thoughts constantly going through my brain, and my brain is hopping from one thought to another, similar to a monkey hopping from tree branch to tree branch to tree branch. So I'm sure you can now see the monkey in your mind,
yeah.
and that is exactly what's happening to me. And so through research, it shows that we actually think 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day, which
Holy cow.
Just incredible. Good news, bad news here. Bad news is we can't stop the thoughts. We're going to have lots of thoughts going through our brain. That's part of who we are. But the good news is we can intentionally slow those thoughts down. And I have taken time out to do those type of things and highly recommend it. So for me, it's really about making a decision that I'm going to stop and I'm going to give myself some mental space. And by doing that, it really helps me to gain clarity and be present again. So what you caught me doing is my own routine of making the decision to stop, finding a quiet space just for a few minutes. For 10 minutes is all you need, a quiet, uninterrupted space. And then I do some deep breathing exercises, just in through the nose, out through the mouth. And I do that several times. And just that alone is a wonderful way to calm yourself down. And then finally, I do a meditation exercise where I'm just taking my brain and just allowing the thoughts to come and go and just really allowing myself to settle down and my brain to quiet down. And after 10 minutes, this exercise is over and I find myself with a clear mind and feeling refreshed and I'm ready to get back to my next task.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. So I could totally see that being valuable if you're going into if you've got a high pressure day and you've got a lot of things going on, just taking that 10 minutes to reflect and almost like recenter. And that is something that you talk about in the book. I remember reading about that in one of the chapters. So that is actually really cool. All right. So, Janelle, the listeners to the Book Publishing Success podcast show are typically authors. They're always interested in learning more about, writing books and the various aspects. But why don't you just give listeners a quick update on where they can learn more about the Success Lie?
Well, you can buy a copy of The Success Lie anywhere that books are sold. And you can also go to thesuccesslie.com and learn more there about how to buy the book as well as to get some free resources. Awesome.
Okay. Well, Janelle, thanks for joining us here at Book Publishing Success. It was great having you on the show, and we look forward to seeing you next time for our next episode.
Well, thank you, Bryan. And don't buy into the Success Lie. You do have the choice.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for being here.